Hello everyone, in this video we're going to go through Ozul's abilities. He is the rogue archetype in Drakantos, and it's a offensive specialist. Please do keep in mind that these abilities are from the closed beta test. They are subject to change based on player feedback and developer insight from the beta. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump right in here. We're going to start off with his movement ability, which is Shadow Step. He's going to dash forward and get a small damage reduction. The first orb is going to increase the charges, but increase the cooldown along with that. And then the third orb is going to give him a little extra distance. The next orb is going to give him an attack increase and movement speed on perfect timing. And then the final orb is going to give him a shield and extra movement speed with a perfect timing as well. Moving on to his basic attack, of course, he's going to deal some single target damage. The first orb is going to increase the cast speed there by 10%, and then the second orb is going to increase that cast speed by 25%. And then his next ability is going to be Sinister Strike. He's going to unleash a deadly frontal strike with his daggers, deal some damage to all enemies in front of him, and if he does this from the back, they receive extra damage. The first orb is going to add a charge to this as well, so that he can deal some more damage if held for 2 seconds. And then the second orb is also going to keep that hold on there, decrease that down to 1.2 seconds for the maximum damage, and also do an extra ability here where if he's lined up with Ozul and the Sinister Strike's in range, he'll actually Shadow Step behind the enemy before doing the strike. So this is a way to kind of jump behind the enemy, deal that extra damage, that 40% increase, and then just by holding that down for that 1.2 seconds there. His next ability is going to be Shadow Dance. He's going to do a spinning attack that deals damage to nearby enemies. This also causes Shadow Step to start granting you a Shadow Mark, and if you hit at least one enemy with this ability, the cooldown of Shadow Step is going to be reset. The first orb on this is going to make it to where it also does a little bit of extra damage after the initial attack, so it's going to do some damage over time, over 8 seconds, and reduce the movement speed of the enemy's hit also. It's still going to give you that cooldown reset on Shadow Step. And then the second orb is going to make it to where instead of doing a spinning attack, he throws 3 daggers in an area and also puts those daggers in the ground that remain in play for 20 seconds. That's going to be important in the next ability. Still does reduce the cooldown on his Shadow Mark and Shadow Step there as well. And why are those daggers going to be important? That's because of this next ability, Phantom Daggers. So when Phantom Daggers is in effect, he uses throwing daggers at his target instead of using dagger stab. So you activate this and then use dagger stab, and then instead of stabbing them, he's going to throw daggers at them. It's going to increase his range for up to 3 meters as well. Using anything other than throwing daggers will deactivate Phantom Daggers and cause all daggers to be thrown and quickly pursue surrounding enemies in a certain area there. The first orb on that is going to increase that to a larger area, to where it has more range there, so it gets a larger range in that. And then the second orb is going to reduce it back to a smaller area here. But to compensate for that smaller area, the range on these is going to be 5 meters, so you can be a little bit further away to throw these meters. So if you need a little bit more distance on those, this second orb is going to be better for you. So basically, to kind of tie this in with the previous ability, those daggers are going to stay on the ground for 6 seconds. The daggers from this ability stay in the ground for 6 seconds. So this enables you to have more daggers that are kind of out in the field, and then when you reactivate Phantom Daggers, they're all going to start seeking nearby targets and dealing more additional damage. And then looking at his final ability, his ultimate, it's going to be Vanish. Ozul will vanish into the shadows, becoming invisible and receiving a 40 movement speed bonus. Using any attack will cancel the Vanish, but if it's canceled by either Sinister Strike or Shadow Dance, the attacks will deal additional damage. The stealth can be maintained for up to 5 seconds. So you get 5 seconds to be invisible, enemies can't target you. You still can be hit by AoE abilities, and I believe that will knock you out. of the Vanish there, but basically you Vanish, you go behind the target, you do a Sinister Strike, or you do a Shadow Dance. It's going to grant you additional damage on that as well, so it's going to just be a way to kind of further boost his damage. That's going to wrap up Ozul's toolkit here. Overall, he was a very popular choice in the beta. I did see several players using him, both at the beginning levels, the lower ranks, the higher ranks, rank 4, rank 5, where rank 5 was the cap there. As you can see in some of this B-roll footage, I'm in a group with on Caladrax against him, with Ozul in the party here, and has a very high damage output. This particular Ozul was actually down at below 1,000 power, and the recommended power for this fight was the 1248, which was the cap there during the beta. So even with the lower power level, he was able to do quite a bit of damage. He was not falling behind or anything like that, so has a very high damage potential when played right. Again, you have to kind of manage things like his Shadow Step cooldown, getting those shadow marks, keeping as many daggers on there with the throwing daggers there, applying Vanish, and then kind of staying out of an AoE and timing that properly so you can maximize that additional damage there. But overall, seems like a very fun class to play if you like that archetype. I know rogues are very popular archetypes, and that definitely showed in the beta where there were plenty of people playing this class here. So if you had a chance to play Ozul during the beta, let me know what you felt down in the comments below there. I'd love to hear how you played. I didn't get a chance to play him myself. I'm not too much into the rogue fantasy myself, but I definitely see the appeal and why most people do enjoy it. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments there. And that's going to wrap up this video here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.